Here are today's top stories. The Department of Health reports an outbreak of leptospirosis in parts of Metro Manila. The PNP investigates a high-ranking official that may have a connection with the killing of Mayor Antonio Halili. Environment officials say Boracay's Long White Beach is now safe to swim. And the PBA League says it has yet to impose sanctions on Gilas Pilipinas after their brawl with Australia. Good day. I'm William Theo.
And I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom.
The Department of Health has declared a leptospirosis outbreak with the increase in the number of cases brought by the rainy season.
The Cordillera region has also reported a 40% increase in leptospirosis cases. Here's a report.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque III declared outbreaks in certain parts of Metro Manila following the rising number of leptospirosis cases in the last 2 weeks. An outbreak of the disease was declared in 8 barangays in Quezon City, 4 barangays in Taguig City, 2 in Parañaque, 1 each in Pasig, Navotas, Mandaluyong, and Malabon. Over 300 cases have been reported, with 52 leading to deaths. Duque has urged local government units to step up flood control and waste disposal measures and control the proliferation of rats, whose infected urine is one of the causes of leptospirosis. A total of 28 leptospirosis cases was also recorded in the Cordillera region from January to June 2018, showing a 40% increase from the same period last year. Jeannie Austria, nurse at the Regional Epidemiology Surveillance Unit of the Department of Health in Cordillera, said Benguet recorded 7 cases, Kalinga has 5, Apayao and Ifugao both have 3, while Baguio City and Mountain Province reported 1 case each. The total includes 8 patients from non-Cordillera provinces. 1 death was meanwhile recorded in Baguio City, although the fatality was also diagnosed with dengue. Leptospirosis symptoms include high fever, muscle pain, eye redness, yellowing of skin, tea-colored urine, decreased urine output, cough, diarrhea, and vomiting. If left untreated, leptospirosis may cause kidney failure, brain damage, massive internal bleeding, and death. To prevent leptospirosis, the public is urged to prevent from swimming or wading in potentially contaminated water. Other ways of prevention include proper personal protection like boots and gloves, draining of potentially contaminated water, and control of rats by using traps or other means of vermin control. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Filipinos can expect President Rodrigo Duterte's third State of the Nation address will not only contain a report of accomplishments, but also a message from the heart. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says the next SONA will deliver Duterte's message to the people without being hindered by the need to report on the administration's activities. Roque says the public will get a preview of the policies, programs, and projects implemented during Duterte's second year in office through a series of pre-SONA forums. Duterte's accomplishments will be reported in detail by the different clusters in the briefings that will be conducted. Roque, meanwhile, says the SONA scheduled on July 23 would still be made by a speechwriter instead of being extemporaneous. Presidential Communications Operations Office Secretary Martin Andanar also confirmed that film and TV director Joyce Bernal will be directing Duterte's next SONA, replacing Brillante Mendoza.
The Catholic Church offers to help loiterers or tambay become productive in order to stop them from roaming around in communities. Balanga Bataan Bishop Ruperto Santos acknowledged in a circular letter that the tambay are a challenge to the church. He says they can be invited to the church to participate in activities that can help them in their spiritual life, as well as livelihood programs. Santos added that they can also provide special catechism classes for those who would like to sustain their spirituality. Santos, chairman of the CBCP Episcopal Commission on Migrant and Itinerant People, also urged the government to undertake a Build, Build, Build program to help the tambays. This means building knowledge and character building skills and building houses. The Bataan Bishop meanwhile says rounding up the tambay will not solve the problem, as there will always be people like them in the streets. He reiterates that not all tambay are criminals, lazy, or good for nothing.
The PNP is looking into the angle that Tanawan City, Batangas Mayor Antonio Halili was in a quarrel with a supposed general before he was shot dead. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde refused to identify the official or whether it was from the police or military. However, Albayalde clarifies that the general, who was believed to be a longtime enemy of Halili, is not being treated as a person of interest. Another angle being investigated is Halili's purchase of several lands in Batangas. Calabarzon Regional Director Edward Carranza earlier said that the police are investigating 3 persons of interest in the killing of the mayor, 2 of which are involved in illegal drugs.
The provincial government of Nueva Ecija is offering a 1 million peso reward to anyone who can give information that will lead to the resolution of the killing of General Tino Mayor Ferdinand Bote. Provincial Administrator Alejandro Abesames says the amount will be drawn from the provincial fund. Governor Sarina Umali has vowed to make the perpetrators answer for their crime. New CCTV footage gathered by the police from villages near the crime scene showed that there were 3 persons on the single motorcycle used in the crime. 2 of the riders were armed. The footage also showed that the motorcycle was backed up by an SUV as it fled Barangay Imelda. Bote was ambushed along Maharlika Highway in Cabanatuan City on Tuesday afternoon and was declared dead on arrival.
Still to come, environment officials say Boracay's Long White Beach is now safe for swimming. Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio says she is no longer keen on pursuing localized peace talks with communist rebels. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Located 315 kilometers away from Manila lies a small island, the #1 tourist destination in the country and the world, Boracay. Active promotion of the island over the years resulted in the upswing trend of tourist arrival in the last 15 years. Along with the influx of tourists is the uncontrolled development in the island, which altered Boracay's landscape from the pristine and idyllic environment to an urban jungle.
Dito noon, simple lang talaga. Yung ano lang, pawod, yung mga bahay, may pa yung atip, tapos kawayan yung sahig. Simple lang talaga yung ilaw, ano lang, lampara. Simple lang talaga tahimik ang buhay.
Such development bore more issues such as improper disposal of solid and liquid waste, water pollution, overpopulation, and road congestion.
Nagbanta si Pangulong Duterte na ipasasara ang isa ng Boracay kung hindi ito malilinis sa loob ng 6 na buwan.
Through the President's directive, an interagency task force composed of the DENR, DOT, and DILG to spearhead Boracay's rehabilitation was created with a goal to make it a safe, healthy, and environment-friendly place for tourists.
We have recommended the temporary closure of Boracay to pave the way for the full implementation of the island's rehabilitation plan.
Pasya na ang Pangulo. Isasara muna ang Boracay ng 6 na buwan para sa rehabilitasyon. Magsisimula yan April 26.
Actually, sir, para sa amin is an answered prayer na yung mga problema na namin sa palibot dumating na sa heaven, tapos naging instrument na bumagsak doon sa Malacanang. Ginamit ng instrument ng goodness si Digong, katulad na kayo.
On the part of the DENR, rehabilitation efforts are focused on the 5 key areas: drainage and sewerage management, solid waste management, road and transport, forest lands and easements, recovery and A&D lands management, biodiversity conservation, wetlands rehabilitation, and geohazard management.
We would like to rebuild Boracay for it to become a sustainable and eco-friendly tourism destination worthy of the praise as one of the best beaches in the world.
Just 2 months after the closure, slowly Boracay is improving.
Maraming salamat sa Diyos dahil tinulungan naman itong DNR. Ayan nga lugar hindi mapasukan, pero ngayon ay ang ganda-ganda na. Sabi ko, ay salamat Panginoon. Sana ipapagtatag mo ang mga taong may mga karapatan din. Huwag mong ipabayaan para madiretso nila yung mga gawain.
Until then, a better and improved Boracay will be waiting for us, which we can all be proud of.
The Community Environment and Natural Resources Office for Boracay confirms that the island's Long Beach is now safe for swimming. Center Officer Richard Fabila says the quality of water in the beach is now within standards as its fecal coliform concentration level already decreased. The result was confirmed based on numerous tests by the Environmental Management Bureau in Western Visayas. Fabila says the water quality around the island started to improve since the excavation of illegal pipes discharging wastewater to the beach. The entire Long Beach has been open to local residents since June 24. However, Fabila said that the water quality at the back beach of the island, or Bulabog Beach, is still not within the standards because the plugging of illegal connections to the drainage systems is still ongoing. Environment Secretary Roy Simato noted on Wednesday night that the beach of Boracay is already clean. Boracay Island is expected to reopen to tourists starting October 26.
The government vows to address the impact of country's rising inflation rate, even as inflation is seen to slow down before the end of the year. More on this from Miguel Hill.
Socioeconomic Planning Secretary Ernesto Pernia is counting on the country's inflation rate to normalize towards the end of the year after peaking this quarter. This after price pressures accelerated to a 5-year high of 5.2% last month. Pernia says the government needs to implement short-term and long-term measures to address the impact of inflation, even as it is expected to peak in the third quarter and taper off by October. Pernia attributed the higher June inflation rate to faster price increases in major commodities like food, fuel, and transport, as well as world oil prices, peso depreciation, and the price of rice. The country's chief economic planner underscored the need for the country to urgently increase the supply of goods and services, especially food, particularly rice, which takes up a large chunk of the food budget of poor families. He noted the country should also immediately initiate measures that will boost the productivity of the agriculture sector and address the high costs of bringing agricultural products to markets. Pernia also cited the importance of strictly monitoring prices to avoid profiteering, implementing the Pantawid Pasada program, the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization programs, and the amendment of the Agriculture Tarification Law. He notes that the train law increased the take-home pay of 99% of income taxpayers, thus helping them cope with the rising prices of goods. Pernia further said he remains optimistic about meeting medium-term economic growth target of 7 to 8% as the country manages inflation. January to June inflation rate averaged 4.3%, slightly higher than the government's target of 2 to 4%. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
Grab Philippines has announced that it is providing its drivers some 70 million pesos in subsidies in the past 2 weeks. The subsidy program, which the company rolled out last June 19, aims to ensure sustainable income for its drivers while meeting the demand for rides from its passengers. Grab Philippines country head Brian Koo says the company shifted to subsidies from incentives because a lot of part-time drivers do not hit incentives and even lose money. He says the subsidies ensure that the assistance for driver income occurs on a broader basis. Grab earlier said the earnings of its drivers have declined since the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board suspended the 2 peso per minute travel charge last April. It said that TNV's drivers should ideally be earning at least 5 pesos and 50 centavos per minute or 330 pesos per hour. Grab is eyeing to spend more than 100 million pesos a month for the fare subsidy.
Localized peace talks with communist rebels are unlikely to happen in Davao City after Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio expressed disinterest in reviving plans to talk with the New People's Army. Duterte Carpio has vowed to continue the city's peace development efforts in areas the communist insurgents maintain a heavy presence. The mayor says the local government will focus on Paquibato District, a hotbed for NPA activities where they recently launched a poverty alleviation initiative. Duterte Carpio has suspected the local talks with the local insurgents following President Rodrigo Duterte's announcement to declare the NPA a terrorist group. Presidential advisor on the peace process, Secretary Jesus Dureza, earlier said the doors for the resumption of peace talks with the National Democratic Front of the Philippines remain conditionally open. Dureza added that localized peace arrangements may be pursued by local government units with insurgents in their respective areas of responsibility.
The provincial government of Pangasinan will award cash incentives to different abled Pangasinenses who won the championship during the National Paralympic Games held in Marikina last May 11 to 19. The provincial government will give 8,000 pesos for each gold medalist, 6,000 for each silver medalist, and 4,000 for each bronze medalist, while the other participants will receive 2,000 pesos each. The Pangasinan delegation won 15 gold, 16 silver, and 5 bronze medals in the Paralympic competition. The delegation competed in athletics events, table tennis, powerlifting, swimming, and chess of hearing impaired and ortho categories. The awarding will be on July 23 in line with the National Disability Prevention and Rehabilitation Week observance. The Pangasinan PSWDO will also recognize in the same event the winner for the most empowered PWD municipal or city organization. A 2-day culminating activity which will be attended by some 350 PWDs from all over the province will also be held on July 23 to 24 at the President's Hotel in Lingayen. Up next, police seize over 47 million pesos worth of shabu in a buy-bust operation in Manila. The PBA League says it has yet to impose sanctions on Gilas Pilipinas after the brawl with Australia. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Malnutrisyon, mababang IQ, anemia, at mababang resistensya ang ilan lamang sa mga sakit na sanhi ng bulate. Huwag hayaang magkaroon nito ang inyong mga anak. Makiisa sa sabayang gamutan kontra bulate. Ito ay libre para sa lahat ng estudyante mula kinder hanggang grade 12 sa lahat ng pampubliko at pribadong eskwelahan sa buong bansa.
Police confiscated over 47 million pesos worth of shabu in a buy-bust operation in San Andres Bukid, Manila Thursday morning. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde presented to the media the 7 kilos of shabu seized by the anti-drug operatives from the suspect identified as Joshir Bernardo. They also retrieved 9 bundles of money worth about 1 million pesos. The suspect is believed to be part of the group of suspected drug lord Loloy Hernandez, who is already detained in the Taguig City Jail. NCRPO Director Guillermo Ilyasar says Bernardo has been under surveillance for delivering drugs in Metro Manila and the Calabarzon area. The PNP is now investigating how Hernandez is able to operate his drug business while in jail and where he gets his supply.
Key members on the judiciary from Southeast Asia are discussing each state's measures to enforce intellectual property at the European Union Intellectual Property Office, or EU IPO. Judge Romeo Tagrap represented the Philippines in the roundtable discussion. The European Union had pointed out that implementation of international IP standards tends to vary across Southeast Asia. The EU underscored that regulatory certainty over the protection of IP assets is an important consideration for businesses wishing to invest in the country. The bloc expects to instill business confidence in judicial processes related to IP cases in the region through understanding and adoption of international best practices. The topics and practices to be discussed include the international IP framework, special rules of procedure for IP cases, legal remedies, provisional and precautionary measures, and jurisdictional issues. Current challenges such as online trademark and copyright infringement, e-commerce, domain names, and IP adjudication in the digital environment will also be tackled, among others.
The Philippine Basketball Association will not impose sanctions on the Gilas players involved in the brawl with Australia in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers in Bocaue. In a closed-door meeting, the players gave Commissioner Willie Marshall their explanation on the events that led to the free-for-all. Aside from the Gilas team, Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas President Al Panlilio and Philippine Olympic Committee Secretary General Pato Gregorio were also present in the meeting. Marshall also says they will wait for the result of the FIBA investigation in the brawl. He says the PBA will appeal if the possible sanction would extend to the league's games. FIBA has given SBP until July 10 to submit its explanation of the events of July 2nd. Meanwhile, after issuing individual apologies, the SBP and Basketball Australia issued a joint statement to express apologies over the brawl between Gilas and the Boomers. Both SBP and BA said they fully accept their responsibilities and are collaborating on the ongoing proceedings to investigate the incident.
To educate more people on saving lives, the Philippine Heart Association calls on the government to increase awareness on the importance of CPR and other methods to help people with heart problems.
The group is also pushing for the installation of defibrillators in public places to be used during emergencies. Here is our report.
The Philippine Heart Association calls on the government to increase awareness and training on cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR, as a way to save the lives of persons with heart disease. During the launching of the infomercial dubbed Gadget AED.ph in Pasig City, Dr. Ronald Cuico, chairperson of the advocacy campaign, said knowledge in CPR, accompanied by the use of AED or automated external defibrillator, will increase the survival rate of persons experiencing a heart attack or stroke to 33%. Cuico added that they want people and policymakers to be familiar with the use of AED to drum up support for the immediate passage of House Bill 5327, or the act requiring the placement of defibrillators in public places. He said performing CPR and administering the AED on a person suffering from cardiac arrest is vital while waiting for a professional medical intervention. Ormoc City Mayor Richard Gomez, who also graced the event, said Ormoc City has acquired a total of 11 AEDs as part of their disaster preparation measure. He added that he also directed village officials to pass ordinances that mandate hotels and resorts to ensure that their lifeguards have the knowledge of CPR. Dr. Gloria Balboa, Department of Health Emergency Management Bureau Director, said they are also encouraging other government agencies to take the lead in acquiring AEDs. The DOH is now preparing to partner with different private institutions for the conduct of CPR and get support for the passage of the AED bill in Congress. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Let's now check out weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Okay, Will, when you think about teams, what first comes into your mind?
See, why did I have the feeling that you were gonna ask me that? But anyway.
You know, something happened this week and it's major, right?
Yes, okay. Team. When you say team, it means, for me, it means teamwork. You work together as a team. You forget about yourself as an individual and you integrate yourself like a well-functioning machine, right?
Right. So, with the whole issue on Gilas Pilipinas, would you think that it's an unfortunate event, but we need to stick together as a team?
Well, I think the best thing really to do, of course, we need to stick together as a team, but we also should be open to improving ourselves if there are some problems that need to be fixed.
So, need to be reconciled.
Yes, definitely. And if you do that, everybody makes mistakes, right? It'll make you stronger. There.
And I agree. We are one team, so we're one with Gilas Pilipinas, right?
Yes, we are.
So let's take another look at today's top stories. The Department of Health reports an outbreak of leptospirosis in parts of Metro Manila. The PNP investigates a high-ranking official that may have a connection with the killing of Mayor Antonio Halili. Environment officials say Boracay's long white beach is now safe to swim. And the PBA League says it has yet to impose sanctions on Gilas Pilipinas after their brawl with Australia. Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter.
For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites.
And that's your daily dose of the latest news
And information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I'm William Theo.
And I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.